Okay, it is my birthday month, and I'm so excited about all the guests that I am featuring in this month's podcast. Now, the question I want to ask you today is, do you understand the power of partnerships and collaborations? Because one thing I know to be true is that you can go further faster when you partner with someone versus trying to build the vision alone. On today, I have the distinct honor and privilege of dialoguing with a sister that understands the power of partnerships and collaborations. In the studio today, I have with me my girl, Dr. Melva Tate. How you doing?
Hello, birthday girl. So delighted to be here. Listen, I got to just say, when I got your text saying, hey, I want you on the podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to go party with my girl.
Thank
Yes.
you. You know,
so,
we
so
go
proud of
we
you.
go all the way back.
Way back.
Yes.
Way back.
Well,
So,
welcome to Arise and Build.
thank you. Thank you, beautiful set for a beautiful person.
Thank you.
Thank you so
You're
much
so
for
sweet.
being here.
And you look good, girl.
Well,
I
thank
told you when
you.
you walked in, you're looking
Well,
like
thank you.
you're looking like somebody waiting on you.
All right. Now.
Well, let's talk about collaborate. First of all, share with the audience, who are you?
So I am. I tell people all the time, if you really want to know about Melva, you need to know that, first of all, I'm a connector. My purpose in life is a connector. I was born to connect people with resources and opportunities and just anything that's going to help them on life's journey. So connect. So like what we call the plug in the street. On the professional side though, right? Yeah, you know that. And then my superpower is a fixer. So I love fixing things. I think that's why I do so well as a connector. And of course, all superheroes have that thing that gets in the way. And my challenge is impatience. So I'm a very impatient person.
You?
Yes, I am.
I didn't know
would be
that.
surprised to know. I eat fast. I blame that on the Navy. They gave us 20 minutes to eat our fine Navy chow. I tend to drive fast. I blame that on my daddy because he taught me how to drive on the highway on the Chicago Loop. He was like, "You better get it, girl," and I hadn't slowed down yet. And then I just tend to talk fast too, and I don't know if that's just it's never a nervous thing. It's just I got so much to say. So so that's kind of who I am. But from the professional side, I am the owner of Tate and Associates, Tate and Associates Strategic Consulting, and we're a consulting firm, a boutique consulting firm. And so we just literally help organizations execute their mission. We help them move their mission forward by the talent that they have within the organization. So whether that is strategic planning, whether that is talent development, training, talent acquisition, all of those things that help the organization run and move forward smoothly. Now we do some of the stuff that when people don't do what they're supposed to do, like investigations and assist with terminations, but we simply love helping organizations thrive. So whether that is a huge organization like a UAB with thousands and thousands of employees, or even a small startup, we have space within our scope of services to support them.
And you've been helping corporations for a long time.
I have, I thought about it, and we were talking about, we're doing some PR and marketing things this past week with the team because we're actually looking at expanding and opening another brand.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
So look at the doctor.
Yes, we were talking about the launch of that and everything else, but we were, when you think about this girl from Winona Projects, right? That just did not see
that part.
Yeah, I just did not envision God putting me where I feel that I know for sure that I am placed for this purpose at this time. So I don't have that imposter syndrome at all.
Come on.
But just to know that I've worked with major brands like a Mercedes-Benz and a Chick-fil-A and Books a Million.
Come on, call it out.
Hey. All these major brands that people just you see and you interact with, knowing that there was a space for me within their organization to make it better has just been so rewarding.
What I love is this right here is that you had the confidence to make the offer.
Yeah, you know what, girl, listen, I know we have not taken a deep dive into our discussion today, but it has been through partnerships and collaborations. I was sharing with the PR and marketing young lady that I've never really done any cold calling. I've never rarely do or RP and try to put my name in a hat. They have all come from somebody who said, hey, you need to call Melva.
Okay, let's talk about that. We are in the conversation.
Okay. Just dive right in.
The person or the company is not going to refer you unless you have done something that left a mark. You understand?
A memorable mark,
A
right?
memorable
Yes.
mark.
They remember your name.
Something that says, you know what, I want her back. I want to renew this contract. You understand? And so it's almost like a collaboration without calling them saying, will you partner with me?
Absolutely.
But your work spoke for itself. Thus, they know, you know what, I know that she's going to take care. It's like you and I. If we refer someone to someone, we want to make sure that if my name is on it, you need to show up.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about that.
You know what? And I want to make sure that we include this as part of our conversation because a lot of the work and a lot of the referrals have come from not just business to business and someone that I've worked with within that business setting, but also from a volunteer basis. I have never feared paying it forward.
That's good.
Because I've always trusted God to pay it back in return.
That's good.
And it ain't the same people that you interact with, right? But it's those people that you meet along that journey when you're giving of your gifts and talents that are the ones that become your brand ambassadors.
You opening up a lot to listen now. Listen. You dropping jewels, and I'm like, okay, which way we about to go? Because that right there it speaks to selflessness. You understand? See, let's talk about this. You cannot be an effective collaborator unless you are selfless. Because if you're only collaborating to get what you, it has to be reciprocal. It has to have a reciprocal touch to it. Let's talk about that.
Hey, you're preaching now for real. I think about when you talk about partnerships and collaborations, I think about the fact that. And I think I mentioned it to you before that I've been working on a project for years and God's gonna bring it to fruition, right? But just I had this dream about being in a store with a whole lot of it was a store full of bread. And I know they had bread stores back in the day, right? Not so much now, but it was just a store full of bread. And I was like, but it was all different kinds, right? And to me, that represented all the different gifts and talents that we have. That's even if we're in the same path, right? That there is enough for all of us and there's enough variety to go around. So I've always believed that if I didn't get it, if it was not my opportunity, I'm cheering for somebody else because that was not what God had for me.
That's right.
It wasn't what God had for me. So I have been open to say, this is an opportunity for me, and I'm not gonna to misuse it or judge it based on the outer surface. It reminds me of when I tell this story when I'm doing training about when Netflix first started. And I don't know if you remember the story, but Netflix went to Blockbuster, who was dominating the market, right? For home movies and home entertainment and everything else. And so both of them in the same path, right?
Come on.
And it to me, that's that uneven bread. Because see, at that point, Netflix wasn't baked all the way, right? They were still up and coming. They were still maturing along the way. Blockbuster literally had bought the block, right? They were on every block in every corner. And they went to them and said, hey, we've got this feature that we think would be great for you. We would love to collaborate with you. And so as the story goes, Blockbuster laughed them out, right? They was like, nah, you too small, go away. We got this. Where they at now?
Blockbuster who?
Who dominate now, right? And so I think
do they even exist? I know later on
they one store somewhere,
and they tried to do the kiosks
and it just did not work. So it was a missed opportunity. So I do think when we're open enough and we're not looking at the big dog, little dog size on both ends, right? Because you can be so intimidated to approach someone, even if it's in your spirit and that's the path you need to take, and then for someone else to be large enough. With a large ego to say, oh, no, you right here. You just getting started. You don't add enough value to who we are and what we do. No. And I'm not saying all collaborations are the right ones, but that's a perfect example of they had a product or service that could have enhanced it. And we could have been, we going to Blockbuster and chill instead of Netflix and chill, right?
Well, see, I never knew. That's my first time hearing that. I never knew that Netflix actually went to Blockbuster.
And they laughed them out the door.
That's crazy.
And it did not take but a number of years for people to realize on demand and streaming was the way to go. And those stores, you start seeing them just close down. And, I never, cheer for someone's downfall. But I was glad that Blockbuster closed down because they used to charge me them $3 because I didn't rewind that. I have to worry about that with Netflix. Look, me running over people trying to get the tape back into
baby,
it.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, you said a lot. You have to be open. Well, first of all, the gift of discernment is key, because when individuals come to you, regardless of how big or small they are, this is why prayer life is key. This is why it's just important, because somebody may come to you, this big company, and maybe it's somebody you've always wanted to partner with, but you feel this in your spirit, like, but if you're not careful, you will allow what appears to be good to cause you to say yes to something that you should say no to.
And that is why it's so important before you start the collaboration venture or the partnership venture. You got to know who you are. You got to have a brand that's even if it's small and growing, but you got to know who you are. Because in that same analogy, they could have been in that meeting and Blockbuster could have said, well, no, we want to change everything about you. And then Netflix no longer existed, right? Because they didn't come and say buy us, or they wanted to collaborate initially. But you got to know who you are. So if I had to start off with one tip, it would be, make sure you know who you are as a brand and what your services are. Not that they can't expand and evolve, but you got to really know who you are. Otherwise, you'll get lost in the fold.
That's so good. That's so good. I interviewed a young lady, Melinda T. White. I don't know if you're familiar with her. That's my girl. And she talked on identity. She talked on identity and knowing who you are. It was called the identity shift. You understand? And you have to change your thinking, because when you understand who you are, you can make better and more strategic decisions.
You can.
That is so good.
Absolutely.
So what's some of the most valuable collaborations you've ever done?
Valuable.
I'm talking, when I say value, not in the sense that the other ones are not, but just one that you felt like yield a great return.
Well, let me tell you one that I've just decided to do. And this was one that I had to pray about for real. And I think as an entrepreneur, as a successful business owner, you got to have a prayer life and know what's for you. So I was approached by, and actually I got the heads up from a gentleman that I serve on a board with, and said, hey, your name came up at a meeting today. You're probably going to be getting a call. And literally that's all he said, because we had to start the meeting. And I was like, okay. Within 48 hours, I got an email with a person I had never met before, introducing themselves and said, hey, I'm a part of the city of Birmingham. I'm helping run the Good Jobs Birmingham Healthcare Initiative and Challenge, which is a grant that was received by the city to help train and then employ over 1,000 individuals in the healthcare field, right? 1,000, right? And so I said, I had not heard of it. Tell me more about it. And then the more she told me about it, of course, I'm listening to the great opportunities that it provides for our community, but then also the challenges that they were facing, which is why my name came up, right? And so they literally listened to someone who said, you need to take a different approach to the way that you've been doing this segment of it, which is really to help employers be willing and open and informed enough to hire these graduates who are going through a 3-week or 13-week training program. And we know healthcare is needed all over the world, but certainly in our area where healthcare is very important. And so in talking to them, I was like, oh, where are the pros and cons? But went through my whole list of things, right? And decided this will be a great partnership or collaboration to do. Not only is it in line with what we do in our scope, but it also provided a stretch goal for us. And that's another thing. You got to put aside that fear, because you ain't never going to be already prepared for every single thing that comes your way.
That's good.
But you got to make sure that the discernment is very important. How much of this is going to push us out of our scope, out of our comfort level, and how much of this is going to give us a challenge. So that's the most recent one, is collaborating with the city of Birmingham and Central 6 workforce to help individuals get employed and hired. And I told them, hey, I'm going to bring it's going to be a whole team approach. It's not going to just be Melva, which is the name that came up in the meeting. It is going to be a whole team approach. And we're so excited. We're 2 weeks in, so excited, but that's the newer one.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
First of all, I love the fact that you let them know it's a team. This is a team thing, not just an I thing, but a we thing. And I love the fact that you were open to be stretched. Where, like you said, it's not going to always, you're not going to always be 100% ready.
Never. And so many people are sitting on the sidelines,
waiting to get ready.
waiting.
It's a spirit of perfection. See, a
Mm-hmm.
spirit will, and I remember I dealt with that. I wanted to be perfect, but here's the thing: perfection is an illusion,
Mm-hmm.
because if it can be done better, perfection does not exist.
Exactly.
So perfection is designed to paralyze you. So it's a spirit of excellence that we're looking for. That's why you got referred, because you operate in the spirit of excellence and character. I heard someone say, maybe it was a book, audio, whatever. They said your excellence or your work ethic will get you where you want to go, but it's your character that'll keep you there. You understand? Let's talk about character. Because people always want to partner with people, make money and all this stuff. But let's talk about the thing that really matters.
Yeah.
And that's your character.
It
Because
is.
sometimes people can do good work, but their character is trash.
Hey sis, let me tell you, when you reach out, and of course we've gone way back when I know when you first started this journey of really finally following the Lord's direction.
Did you just call me out?
Yes.
Did you just call me out?
Following the Lord's direction to help women entrepreneurs and get started, because I'm sure in your pathway you've heard so many people talk about their dreams and what they wanted to do, and I know that it's been over a decade now. You can look back on all the listen, I was already in it, and you were able to sow in me some knowledge nuggets that I've never forgotten, and I always use.
Thank you.
So, but even though we knew of each other and had interacted before, when we started talking about doing some things together, I was like, let me look up her a little bit more, right? What else do I need to find out, right? Because that is important. We talked about making sure you knew who you know who you are as a brand before you start to partner and collaborate with people. But then you also need to make sure that you know who they are. That part, right? Who are they? And are they a person of good character? Are they someone that you don't mind your name being aligned with? And so in business, I have seen people try to do, and openly will share things that I know are unethical, meaning they want to steal somebody else's ideas and make it their own. There's nothing wrong with benchmarking or seeing something great and saying, I'd love to do something similar to that. But I've seen people steal other people's work. Do you think I want to be aligned with that?
Absolutely not.
No, I may look good in blue, but I do not look good in orange. I want to not. I don't want to be in nobody jail. You're not gonna Google my name and find I'm in a lawsuit against someone else for doing something unethical from a business standpoint. So it goes a long way. And just as you mentioned before, when they can speak your name in rooms where you're not there, and there's someone else to validate. Oh, I know her.
That's good.
She's done great work. So a lot of times your work, your character, how you carry yourself. And look, I'm a girl that's love to have fun. I'm a holistic person. But you got to be a person of good character.
Absolutely.
And those of us who, I appreciate having that innate ability to kind of read people. I have to make sure it doesn't travel over to that judgment lane, but being able to read people. And if I don't get a good feel, I don't, I just keep on moving. That ain't for me.
I'm the same way, but you got to be bold enough to say no.
Yes.
You understand?
Absolutely.
Just pass them on.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about this. What happens when you form a collaboration and partnership with someone, and then you have formed it, and then you find out, oh, I made a mistake? Has that ever happened to you?
So last year, I did a couple of strategic things within my business. One, I had a long-term friend that had worked off and on with me in the business part-time. She actually went and got her HR degree and was adding a lot of value, lived in Atlanta, but of course, long-term, hey, can you help me on this project or that project? And so she was ready to transition out of doing government work and wanted something new. I have been praying. I'm needing somebody else that can operate on a higher level for me. And so she was praying, I was praying, those prayers aligned, because it was a simple text that said, I had just talked to my business coach 2 days before. And I said, I'm really ready to find somebody full-time that I can truly trust. 2 days later, I got a text from her. Good morning, girl. When you ready for me to go full-time, I'm ready.
Wow.
And when I tell you that Holy Spirit vibrated from head to toe, because I knew it was the time. It's all about timing too. I knew it was the timing. So fast forward, she's in the role, senior project manager, just promoted her to COO this year, but she was our senior project director. And we were looking at expanding, had a client who wanted someone to do some project management work. Now, I'm all about staying in your lane
Yeah.
because part of partnerships and collaborations that you don't get out of your lane of
That's
expertise.
good. That's
Otherwise,
good.
you mess up your
That's
brand and
good.
everything.
Yeah, say
And
that
what people
3
know.
more times. Okay, go ahead.
But so we thought, okay, well, to support our clients on a retain,
Mhm.
retain meaning they send us a check every month,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So this is already a solidified
Yeah.
relationship,
Yeah.
but we wanted to support them in other areas.
Mhm.
And so we talked about it, and there was a person that she'd worked with before who just started a business.
Mhm.
And was like, okay, yeah, I remember her because I'd met her a couple of years ago. We had both ended up, I think the person was living in Vegas.
Mhm.
She had gone to Vegas, and we were in Vegas at the same time. So we met up and did lunch and everything with the kids. And so I was like, oh, yeah, let's talk about it.
Mhm.
Everything else, we can bring her on as a partner to support our clients in this line of business.
Mhm.
And literally, so knowing her before,
Mhm.
trusting, Melva's recommendation because she had worked with her in a work environment before she started her own business
Mhm.
and brought her on board. And within 3 months, I knew that that was the wrong decision.
Mm.
I mean, literally, because she had overpromised and underdelivered.
Wow.
And although it was not without in our lane, because
Mm.
the clients knew, okay, we're doing this piece, this person's going to support you in this
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
And then when that start fragmenting and falling through the cracks, of course, I've got to step in. But now you've damaged a relationship that I had that I've got
Mm.
to rebuild. I got to let you go because this ain't gonna work for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because our name is our bond,
Yeah.
right? If
Yeah.
we put it on there, we
Yeah. Because you
wanted to
built
make
you,
sure.
you took years to build
Yes,
their reputation.
yes.
Yes.
And for the person, and she reacted in a very, I won't necessarily call it unprofessional way, but not the way I would have in
Yeah.
that situation, which made it even worse.
Yeah.
And so I had to sever that tie.
Mm.
So that's another point along
Yeah.
this. I learned that you need to do some deeper vetting.
Hire slow, fire
You got that
fast.
from me, Daniel.
Yeah.
Yes. I've always said
Maybe that. Yeah.
that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But yeah, so it was a lot of eye-opening
Mhm.
things. So Melva and I literally had sat down. We had a meeting to
Yeah.
to just kind of
Yeah.
break it all
Yeah.
apart to see what we do going forward
Yeah.
because the need for our clients won't stop.
Yeah.
Where we want to continue to help service them holistically, even though that's not in our
Yeah.
lane. But how do we do it going forward?
Yeah.
And so we talked
That's good.
about it may not be that that's a true partnership. It just may be a referral.
Yeah.
And hey, you on your own with them,
Yeah.
y'all can, because it really absorbed a lot of our time.
Wow.
How can we better vet? She had just started out. Again, I think she thought she could
Yeah.
perform at that
Yeah.
level,
Yeah.
but she could not. And so
Yeah.
that was revealed very early on.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of things that we learned through
Yeah.
that, and I had to go back and realize that the word that the Lord had given me for our year was higher. We were
Mm.
going to go higher. We're
Yeah.
going to do
Yeah.
things differently.
Yeah.
But I also don't regret, but truly appreciate that lesson learned.
Oh, absolutely.
Because instead of trying to force it to
Mhm.
work,
Yeah.
even after that,
Yeah.
I knew it was important for me to
Yeah.
cut my ties.
Yeah.
But it taught me such a valuable lesson,
Mhm.
even though I've been on this journey and talking about partnerships and collaboration along the way. That's another point.
Yeah.
There are going to be some times when things don't go the way you want
you
them
just
to.
miss it.
That
Yeah.
don't go. You can
Yeah.
envision it. You can meet. You can
Mhm.
talk. But again, when they said when the rubber meets the road
Yeah.
and it doesn't happen, you got to
Yeah.
have an exit plan.
Yeah.
And I had already, even though I'm an optimistic person, had already decided how if this doesn't go right, how do we pull back and unravel
Yeah.
it? And
Yeah.
we had to execute that plan.
I think that's a great example. And I look at it when you're writing your goals and your visions down, you have to know what you want, but you also have to know what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't know what you don't want, when it shows up, you gonna vacillate, you're gonna be questioning it. But if you know the vision, but you know the threat against the vision, that's why a lot of people do SWOT analysis. Then you'll understand this ain't it.
Exactly.
And sometimes people just don't align with your value system.
And the way we work. Absolutely.
Yeah.
When Melva and I decided we would become business partners.
And what's her name?
Melva. So
Melva and Melva.
It's so ironic because we met each other when we both, when right after I got out of the military,
Wow.
first job I had,
Wow.
everybody was like, "You need to meet Melva." Not realize she was the only other Black girl in the company, right?
So y'all like sister friends.
Sister friends have been sister friends for nearly 35 years now.
Wow.
Yes. But it was important because when she said she was ready, and I knew that would put us in a whole different capacity of working together than it was before. We decided, and we were sure about what was most important.
Yes.
And for us, maintaining our friendship
That's right.
was more important than the partnership.
That's good. That's
And
good.
so we hired a coach to go through the whole
That's
it's called the blueprint of we
yeah.
to understand each other.
That's so
Even
good.
our nonverbal communication
so
when we
good.
know
Yeah.
sometimes we want to say something but don't feel it's the right time or place to say it.
Yeah.
So we went through a whole retreat just to understand each other
So good.
and develop an exit plan just in case it didn't work out along the way, simply because we wanted to maintain that
Your
friendship.
nickname is intentional. It's like I'm just saying it's so good. You know what I'm saying? It's like you all want it to work. So you're going to make the investment, show up and do the work. But then you also have a girl, I never heard it.
Yes.
You created a plan just in case it doesn't work because it saves the relationship.
We created two plans. Well, it was a full plan. The full plan was how do we work together?
That's
knowing
so
that we're
good.
different.
That's
So
so
we both
good.
shared our DISC assessments. We took some other assessments.
Yeah.
I'm very expressive.
Yeah.
She holds it in. So we
Yes.
knew we'd had to work.
So
So when
good.
things come up, hey, we need to talk about. We even came up with our code word
That's
when
good.
things are going on, which signifies we need to talk. So those things are important.
Have you created a digital you know how I'm going to
I
ask
know.
you.
I know.
Because that type of stuff that can help a lot. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes.
That
And
is so
especially with
good.
family
Mhm.
businesses or anyone, because
Yeah.
you find the people that, partnerships are based on trust,
Yes.
even brand new ones.
Yes.
And so, I think about what you've
It's a
done and how
marriage.
it is.
Yes.
And how you built your business and how you support people, but you had to do it with people that you trust.
Yes.
And so to partner or collaborate with
Maybe
someone,
because
there's got to be a level of
because
trust.
I have gone through that
Yes.
with somebody that
Mhm.
you put a lot of trust in and
Uh-huh.
then was
Mhm.
you understand?
Mhm.
And sometimes
Yeah.
you can ignore that red flag
Mhm.
because you want to help everybody. I just want
Exactly.
to help everybody.
Mhm. Mhm. But you can't. So listen, I would not be where I am
Mhm.
without partnerships and collaborations.
Yeah.
I would not be.
Yeah.
And I'm very appreciative of those things.
Yeah.
I don't take them for granted,
So
but they
good.
do require a lot of work.
Yes, they do.
They do require a lot
But
of
it's work.
work. Mhm.
It's like any relationship. If you was
Mhm.
married and you want a
Mhm.
successful marriage,
Uh-huh.
it takes intentionality, it
It
takes
does.
work, it takes focus, it takes compromise
Mhm.
sometimes. Not in it don't always need to be about you
Uh-huh.
and what you want and what
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying. It
Mhm.
takes selflessness
Mhm.
and not selfishness. It
Mhm.
takes patience.
Mhm.
You understand? And I do believe you patient. I know you said you, but I do believe that you are patient. So as we close, what first of all, tell individuals how they can connect with you because there
Sure.
may be a small business or big business watching this to say I need to connect with her, and just close out with one key nugget you want to leave our viewers with
Okay.
about partnerships and collaborations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I've got to tell you some, I greatly appreciate this opportunity just to be on your
Absolutely.
platform. So really
Absolutely.
means the world to me. Of course, I'm lucky like you with one of those unique names that you could just Google. So you could Google Melva Tate.
Okay.
Top line on the search bar.
Okay.
But you can reach me, Melva at melvatate.com is
Yeah.
the easiest way to connect
Yeah.
with me on any
Yeah.
platform or email me.
Yeah.
That way I love to be able to talk to people.
Yeah.
I do discovery sessions all the time
Yeah.
to see if there's a right alignment. And if not, I have a vast network of people that I can refer people to.
So
Because
good.
everybody ain't my client,
Everybody not.
so
Okay, come
I
on.
want to make sure that you get what you need, although it
Absolutely.
may not be for me.
Absolutely.
So but one thing about partnerships and collaborations I can share is that I think I have to use the word that you said that you call me as my new nickname.
Yeah.
Be intentional about
Be
it.
intentional. That's good.
Put it as part of your plan.
Yes.
If you're looking at growing or expanding, you're ready for that next level. Partnerships and collaborations may be that next level for
Yes.
you, but be intentional about it.
Absolutely.
Know what you want it to look like so that it feels good to you when it comes, right?
Yes.
Even if
Yes.
it's a stretch, like I talk about
Yes.
the city of Birmingham and Central Six being a stretch
Mm.
on what they wanted us to do to support
Yes.
that healthcare grant, but make sure it still feels good to you.
Yes.
And then the last thing, and I know you asked me for one, but
Oh
always
no,
have
that's
an
good.
exit plan.
Yeah.
Always
That's
know
good.
for partnerships and collaborations, and realize that they are too a reason, season, or lifetime.
That's good.
They're not forever.
Yes.
So once you get out of it what you need, and you're intentional about being clear about that up front,
Yes.
I think that they will be wonderful marriages that you can make to support your business.
Yes. That's good. Girl, you know I love you, girl.
Oh.
That was good. That's good. And as you was talking, I just thought anybody with a big vision and a heart to help people, they got to collaborate.
You got to.
You can't do it by yourself.
Mhm.
The first collaboration may be your team that you
Mhm.
hire.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
it's a must. You cannot be an island to itself. So thank you so very much. I just appreciate you so
Well,
very
thank
much.
you, thank you. And I'm here in the
Yeah,
house.
TED Talk. We got to give a shout out to TED Talk.
Yes. TED Talk coming up
Yes.
August. I think it's August 13th or August 15th
Yes.
at the Shelby County Arts Council.
Yes.
Most people know Lisa Craig. She is the coordinator for it.
Yeah.
So we're super excited. A stage full of 15 talented
Yes.
individuals who are going to share their perspective on their unique topic. I'm not going to drop what I'm going to talk about. Maybe I'm going to come back and share a little bit more on it. So, but yeah, I am super excited for this opportunity.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody can't say they've been on TED now.
And look, and I'm an international speaker, have never done a TED Talk. So this will be a great opportunity.
Did she just say international?
I
Okay.
did. And I had to admit, this too takes me out of my comfort zone.
Yes.
Because TED has a lot of restrictions around what you can do and say. So you can't just get up there and freestyle, right? You have to be prepared. So thank you.
You're gonna be you walked in here prepared.
All right. Now.
You know what I'm saying? Well, listen, we appreciate you for joining us for another episode of Arise and Build. I want to know, what is your key takeaway? Make sure that you comment below, because I read them. I want to comment to your comment. And I'm just excited that you're here. If you're not already subscribed, make sure that you subscribe, like, and share, and join us for another episode.